Now, one of the issues that has been raised about this election and the way other elections are conducted in the airline industry is that you have to have a majority vote for the union, and there's been a large layoff of employees, of mechanics. Is there a danger that if not enough people participate, you could actually have no union at United Airlines?
Yes.
Kurt?
Yes, you need, in the election that we have right now, you need 50% of the people that are eligible to vote. And our furloughed members that have been furloughed for over 5 years, in fact, I can go 8 years to 9/11, back down to 9/11. Those people are allowed to vote, and a lot of them have moved on, but they're still, under this system, allowed to vote. So we have roughly 4,000 people laid off. We have about 5,400 that are currently active, which means we need 88% to vote that are active. The last representational election we had, and we had very few laid off at the time, we only got 64%.
So there's a danger.
Very serious danger.
It's clear it should be clear that if the way this NMB election is set up is if those people that are furloughed don't vote, the government considers that to be a vote for no union.
Right.
Even though they've been laid off 5, 6, 7, 8 years, that's a no union vote.
So
even though they really haven't been in the industry for a long time. Have there been any efforts to change that rule as far as who can vote in an election? Because 8 years seems like a long time to have a worker vote on representation when they've been out of the industry that long, or that's the way they want it probably.
Well, they do want it. It's not so much that we're not interested in taking away a person's right who has recall rights to take away their right to vote. The problem is the way that the NMB handles that vote. If you don't vote, they count that as a no vote for the union. It's preloaded to be anti-union. If we use those same rules to elect a president, we would never have another president in this country again, because those people who don't vote would be voted as if they're not voting for any of the candidates, and so the majority would have voted not to have a new president.
So it's an anti-labor discriminatory procedure. Now, one of the issues, another issue that's come up is the Teamsters apparently, and they're not here, they were invited, but maybe we can have them in a future program, have promised that if the members vote, or the mechanics vote to join the Teamsters, they will be able to join the Teamsters pension plan. And maybe you can talk about that whole issue of the pension and the issue of what will happen if they do join the Teamsters.
Well, the first thing to understand is that in order to join the pension plan, United Airlines has to agree to it. And, United Airlines is trying to get rid of any liability they have on their balance sheet.
So they don't want a defined pension plan, which is the Teamster pension plan right now.
Well, it's a multi-employer plan. They just got rid of all their people's pensions. I don't know why they would want to step into another pension in which they were going to take on additional liability. Now, the Teamsters have made it out to the people on the floor that, hey, we come in, Jimmy Hoffa is going to show up with his baseball bat, beat United up, and you're going to get this pension. The reality is that, like I said, United has to agree to it, and they could take on a significant liability. In fact, UPS just paid $3.6 billion, not million, $3.6 billion to get out of a Teamster pension plan. So there's many reasons why United wouldn't want to join the pension plan. And to be honest with you, I don't know why. I mean, like we've already discussed, I was in an ESOP and I lost all my money.
Yes.
I had a pension that United, I entrusted them with my money, and I lost all my money. I probably don't want anybody else controlling my money from this point forward.
Go to the well for the third
Well,
time.
I mean, the whole state of workers in this country, and it's not just airline workers, where they're destroying defined pension plans. They're putting one in 401ks. They tried to privatize Social Security and put it in the stock market. I mean, this is a real issue for working people, that they're going to have any retirement at all. I mean, is this, Steve? I mean, it sounds like, I mean, and particularly at United, your members are under the gun. I mean,
They are, and all workers are. There was a time, not all that long ago, that if you were a worker in this country with a defined pension plan, you had confidence, you had faith that it would be paid, because that's what used to be the norm. It's not anymore. If you have a defined pension plan, you have no idea whether or not that's ultimately going to be bankrupt, turned over to the government, and reduced in value.
And these judges, bankruptcy judges, who are they representing? Are they representing the workers?
Well, that's the biggest problem of all. You know that they're just the henchmen for the corporations. And that's why the corporations go into bankruptcy. You know, this is all predetermined. They already know where they're going to file because they have favorable courts. It's just like Delta and Northwest filed on the exact same day. Do you think there's any coincidence they're talking about merging now? This has been really just a complete manipulation of this country's
So these are
laws.
schemes to attack workers and really bust the unions. One last point. There's been some talk of United of outsourcing or contracting out the maintenance space. Where does AMFA stand on that issue?
I can tell you where I stand on it. If United Airlines thinks they're going to continue to send my job away, I'm not interested in it. And you know, the union has a veto power over this process. It's in our contract.
So you'll be able to vote on it. The
Right.
members would be able to vote on this?
On a sale.
And my opinion is that if everybody's job is not protected, we don't have all the contractual rights that we currently have, and get something out of the deal, we're not interested.
We're not interested, yeah, as a member.
So, and it sounds like, why should they? Why should they contract out? You do a good job. You're here taking care of the planes.
Right.
Why should they contract out other than to cut wages,
Cost savings.
cut benefits, cut the conditions of the workers who are working there? Is
Well,
that
also,
the,
when you have a group that is incapable of running their own business correctly, you know what I mean, where they're showing considerable loss, I'm sure that's a consideration. You know, you got to remember, it was made clear to us that they were not looking to put any substantial capital investment back into the base. So, you know, how can you generate these monies? Well, you go ahead and you put us on the chopping block, and you get a you know, outside source to come in and say that they'll commit these funds, you know, to this jet shop or to this base, and you know what I mean, with them keeping a certain percentage stake in that entity. Well, that tells you, well, they're not interested and they're not capable, because if they were, you look back to our bankruptcy, they came to our group and said, we need 96 million bucks. We gave them everything reluctantly that they needed to make their business plan work. And here they are 2.5, 3 years later, it's not working.
saying they want more?